You are on the New York State Thruway. The sun is going down. Your gas light flicks on. The nearest town ahead has one piece of advice from the people who live there. Do not stop. That is New York State. Quiet towns with historical markers on the corner and shootings 2 blocks over. These are towns where locals warn you, not out of paranoia, but from experience. 7 New York small towns so violent that locals warn you not to stop for gas. Hit subscribe, not for the algorithm, but for situational awareness. Let us break it down. Number 7, Middletown, New York. Middletown, New York, where the suburban escape plan runs straight into a cocaine distribution network. The director of a city-funded anti-violence program was charged with supplying cocaine to local dealers. Then Operation Hot Lunch took down 33 defendants, recovering 35 firearms and 12 kilograms of cocaine. One distribution point was a food truck. Where there is narcotics trafficking, you inevitably find guns, violence, and lives devastated. That is the district attorney. Irony alert, the director of the anti-violence program was the supplier. The violent crime rate is approximately 430 per 100,000. The poverty rate is 13.6%. Here is the emotional tax. People came here to escape. The problem restructured itself and got quieter. The pump camera is pointed at your face. You pay and leave. And if Middletown surprised you, the next town is where HBO filmed The Gilded Age, and 86% of residents do not feel safe at night. Troy, New York. The Victorian brownstones along the Hudson River are immaculate, and the motor vehicle theft rate is among the highest in the country. A New York Attorney General investigation found heroin-branded American Gangster sold from a restaurant on 4th Street. 3 kilograms of cocaine, 4 handguns, $50,000 in cash were recovered from the kitchen. A city data forum regular paraphrased it this way: above 15th Street and Burdett Avenue, it is generally safe. Below them, move at your own risk. Irony alert! Troy is the birthplace of Uncle Sam. The city that gave America its national symbol has a west side with a 1 in 19 annual crime victimization rate. The violent crime rate is 470 to 672 per 100,000. The poverty rate is 23.1%. Here is the emotional equation. 2 completely separate towns stitched together. Everyone knows which side is which. Nobody says it out loud. 1 car at the gas station off Congress Street. Engine running, nobody pumping. You keep moving. And if Troy got under your skin, wait until you get to the carousel capital that hosted the deadliest mass shooting in New York State history. Number 5, Binghamton. Binghamton, New York, where the hand-carved carousels run free. Rod Serling was born, and the deadliest lone gunman mass shooting in New York State history happened at an English class. On April 3rd, 2009, a gunman entered the American Civic Association on Henry Street and fired 99 rounds in 3 minutes. 13 people were killed. 11 were immigrants learning English. Binghamton is kind of a dumpster fire, but it is home. Overheard on a niche review. Irony alert! Rod Serling, creator of the Twilight Zone, was born here. His hometown made this list. Violent crime rate, 533 per 100,000. Poverty rate, 32.6%, highest on this list. Old nickname, the Valley of Opportunity. Here's the emotional tax. When enough things happen, people stop expecting them to stop. If you are finding this useful, hit subscribe. New content drops every week. Gas station open after 9, lights half flickering. You pay at the pump and leave. If the Valley of Opportunity hit differently, wait until you meet the town Mark Twain called the quietest of all quiet places. Number 4, Elmira. Elmira, New York, where Mark Twain wrote Huckleberry Finn, and locals have been calling it Hellmira for about as long. The total crime rate is 121% above the national average. Violent crime jumped 70% in a single recent reporting period. The DEA dismantled a heroin ring distributing fentanyl lace product here. At least 3 customers died. One former Elmira resident said they were born and raised there and consider themselves lucky to have made their second escape. Irony alert, a Union prisoner of war camp on the Chemung River killed nearly 3,000 Confederate prisoners in a single year. The camp was erased and the nickname Hellmira survived. The violent crime rate is 547 per 100,000. The poverty rate is 30.2%. Here is the emotional tax. You learn which blocks feel wrong before you can explain why. Gas on the south side, eyes up, back in the car before the receipt prints. And if Elmira surprised you, the next town has a federal gang war, and the Culinary Institute of America is 12 minutes up the road. Number 3. Poughkeepsie. Poughkeepsie, New York, where the walkway over the Hudson is genuinely breathtaking, and the Price Chopper parking lot was an active drug market. A federal RICO indictment charged 31 members of 2 rival gangs with murders and racketeering. Caval Haylett, 18 years old and an all-star basketball player, was shot dead at his own celebration barbecue, not a gang member, just there. I would not live in most of it if you paid me a king's ransom. Posted on a public forum. Irony alert. The Culinary Institute of America and Vassar College are both within 15 minutes. One of the most prestigious culinary schools in America shares a county line with a federal gang war. Violent crime rate 615 per 100,000. Poverty rate 17.6%. Here is the emotional tax. There's Poughkeepsie during the day and Poughkeepsie after 9. Locals navigate between them without thinking. Visitors do not always know which one they have wandered into. 4 cameras on the pumps at the Main Street gas station, each pointed at your face. Nobody lingers. And if Poughkeepsie stayed with you, wait until you see the city where 8 million tourists arrive and 40% of the children live in poverty. Number 2, Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls, New York. 8 million tourists come every year to see one of the natural wonders of the world, and the city ranks 44th most dangerous in America. Niagara Falls had 102,000 residents in 1960. Today, fewer than 48,000 remain. The chemical companies buried 21,000 tons of toxic waste beneath the Love Canal neighborhood before they left. A peace block party in 2024 ended when 43-year-old Anthony Brantley was shot and killed. His fiancée said not one person helped him. Anthony Brantley, the Niagara Falls reporter, wrote that it is only the politicians and others with a vested interest in pretending everything is all right who insist otherwise. Irony alert. The Canadian side of the falls is visible from the American side. It is the same waterfall, but a completely different economy. Residents see that gap every day. The violent crime rate is 806 per 100,000. The poverty rate is 23.7%. Here's the emotional equation. You live 2 miles from a natural wonder and cannot afford to leave. Would you live somewhere famous but failing, or unknown but stoked? Leave famous but forgotten, or unknown but stable in the comments. The station is half lit. You fill up with the doors locked and get back on the highway. And if Niagara Falls broke something in you, number 1 is going to finish the job. Number 1, Newburgh, New York. Newburgh is a place where George Washington ended the Revolutionary War in 1782 and where a resident currently faces a 1 in 24 annual chance of becoming a violent crime statistic. Newburgh's violent crime rate is 983 per 100,000, nearly 3 times the national average. Its murder rate is 3.5 times higher than New York City. Operation Blood Drive deployed 600 officers in pre-dawn raids, arresting 78 members of the Bloods and Latin Kings. The Latin King shot 15-year-old Jeffrey Zachary on Dubois Street in a case of mistaken identity. He was not in either gang. 49 officers served 28,500 residents, half the national average. A Newburgh Community Forum paraphrased, "We do not call 911 here, we call family." Irony here. Newburgh contains the largest historic district in New York State outside Manhattan. George Washington's headquarters on Liberty Street is open to the public. The city was named an All-American City in 1952. The poverty rate is 24.3%. Here is the emotional tax. A Newburgh resident wrote that 1 minute you are walking past boarded up buildings on Broadway, and the next you are watching the most beautiful sunset over the Hudson, like you are in a movie. That is what it looks like when people stop choosing between danger and beauty, because they live inside both. The cashier window on Broadway has bulletproof glass. None of the other cars are stopping. You pay fast and drive north. You do not stop again until Newburgh is well behind you. Hit subscribe, because knowing where not to stop is just the beginning.